and welcome back everyone to Master Game Design, Unreal Engine 5 Stylized Environment and Third-Person Blueprint course. In the last lesson we left ourselves off with an overall layout of the slums, and now we're going to make actual sense out of it by setting it up a little bit better in regards to some of its detail. So for starters, the first thing that we can do is actually going to be making sure that some of the buildings aren't just floating around, and we're going to go ahead and actually check the gray box real quick, see how it's set up. So for example, this part over here, we can go ahead and easily do. We can just hide the gray box, grab the building that's a bit elongated, like so, the half block type of building, put it off to the side, just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and simply stack it on top of one another. I'm going to pick the initial one quite a bit lower, and then just bring it upwards like so. I think it's going to make it look quite alright. Although, I will say this, that we should probably make this part underneath quite a bit longer, quite a bit larger, like so. And we can also extend it outwards a little bit, just like that, so we wouldn't be able to basically see what's underneath it, just like so. Hopefully that's going to be looking quite alright, which it does not actually. So I'm going to do an alternative method of just grabbing the block that we had set up over here. That's going to work much better in our favor. It's going to hide this entire section. We don't want it to make it too high, basically. We want to make it, as you can see over here, a little bit more in regards to just, oh, sorry, it's going to be over here. A little bit more in regards to just kind of a slope instead of just going straight downwards like that. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to just grab both of these blocks, put it off to the side, and then we're going to start thinking in regards to mainly the floating parts. I'm going to put it something like this over here, and this over here, and then we need to think about the detail itself actually. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in a second. I'm going to keep it something like this. I think that's going to be quite alright. This section over here is going to be alright. Let's go ahead and look around the entire section. This section is not going to quite work out. Mainly reason is going to be that this is overlapping, but we can probably push this off to the side. And just looking at this, I can say that we can probably also replace this with the corner one. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab this one, find it which one it is within our section, and just select this and replace it with the one that we had within a content browser. And actually, sorry about that, it's not going to work. The reason being is that we have different material elements. Sometimes it would work, especially if the building was just set with a variation. You'd have that kind of a setup. I'm going to go ahead and save it. For some reason, the auto-saving functionality doesn't exactly work. I'm not really sure why that's the case. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and click Ctrl-Z. And instead of doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and replace it manually. So the one that I want to use is going to be this inner corner over here. So that's the one, I believe, or actually it's going to be with the rounded off roof. I'm going to go ahead and hold Alt and just simply grab it like so, and then put it off to the side, just like that. And another thing that I like to do is actually make sure that I have the balcony on this gap over here instead. So let me just first of all delete the one that's underneath. There is a bit of an issue. I want this corner to be on the other side. The easiest way to fix it would be if we were to click R, go to the scaling mode, and we can see that the red gizmo part is going to be the one that's going to be controlling this squishiness, how it basically scales in this axis. So I'm going to go ahead and find it within the transform tab, the red as well. So this one over here, and I'm just going to make sure that it's set as -1. It's just going to flip it around. If it's set with animations or within a coding, you wouldn't want to do that. But for this particular case, where it's just a static mesh, it is going to be fine in regards to that. I'm just going to move it a little bit, move it inwards as well, so it wouldn't be quite as visible. And no, I will actually move it to this side and add a couple of buildings over here. I'll probably add just some of the buildings from this section, like so. I'll just add one over here actually, and maybe rotate it until we get like a nice window over here. Rotate it until we get 2 windows. There we go. That's a simple problem solving in regards to that. This section is not going to be overlapped, so that's going to be quite fine. I will change up the level for this terrain over here. So it's going to be perfectly sitting in regards to its height. So that's okay as well. This section over here, we can leave it somewhat empty. I can go ahead and actually add a quick building for this area. So I'll probably just duplicate it. Actually, this doesn't matter too much in regards to this area. I'll just go ahead and do that and make it just a simple plain type of a setup like so. Like that, making sure it's not overlapping any weird way. And I think this is looking quite nice. We have an issue over here where the window, the gap is visible. So to fix that, what I would do is I would either grab another building, or we could just grab a wall and fix it like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually do that. A quick and dirty type of a fix. Going to be quite alright for this particular case. So, and I'm just putting it in. Just like that, and there you go, we got it fixed, nice and easy. The rest of the items, so this particular part over here, it's going to see where this window is coming from. Actually, it's coming from over here, so I don't quite like it, and I don't like the way this window is overlaid, so I will try to rotate this around where we had the previous window over here. It's looking quite nice, but at the same time, it's not quite there in regards to the setup, so maybe I'll just bring it to the side, or I'll try to rotate it around even more. Maybe I'll just keep it as a plain wall and like this. I think that'll be quite alright. I'll just bring it back a little bit as well, like so. The window is not going to be visible over in this corner over here. And yeah, this is looking quite nice. Alright, so the next thing that we can do is going to be this area over here. Go ahead and see how this looks like. So this particular one, I don't like how this is overlapping with the top roof, so I'm just going to try split that up a little bit, like so, not by too much, just by a little bit. Maybe I'll lower this down actually even. Don't like lowering this down, so what I'll do instead is I'll just go ahead and bring this to the side even more. That causes this roof to be slightly overlaid. I wanted to just help it break it up the surface a little bit for this section over here, making sure that there's no gap over here. And this section looks quite alright. Let's just go ahead and keep it as is. And I might even bring this a little bit to the back, like so. It might look quite nice actually. And yeah, it does look much nicer in regards to that. I'll just go ahead and do that a little bit. Playing around with the shapes, making sure that the overlapping doesn't affect the overall setup too much. So for example, this area over here is needs to be fixed quite a bit. So I'll just go ahead and actually rotate this around until we get to the right section. Maybe something like this, but it's not quite working, so I'm going to go ahead and fix it by grabbing a simple plane that we had before. So this block over here, let's go ahead and just replace it and have no detail up in that section, just like that. So that's why usually these blocks are quite useful to have. And in this particular case, it might even, and we can just lower this down a little bit like so. And I think this looks quite nice altogether. Looks like a nice section. This area over here, we can do something about it as well. I'd say we can always use just a simple block and make sure we have a certain amount of foundation for this. Something like so. I think that's going to be quite alright. Going to check how this overlaps and whatnot. And I prefer to either do it like this or like this. Maybe lower this down a little bit, like so. Something like that. Yeah, something like this I think will look quite nice. Except maybe for this part over here, not being completely properly set up. So I will actually bring this entire section all the way to the back, like so. And what I will do instead in this area is we got to consider when we're walking in through the front section, and there'll be like an entrance over here, which I actually need to fix up these foundations over here, but there's going to be like a separate building, a bit more fancier building over here. This section also needs to be fixed. But when we're walking through, this is going to be a little bit more of an open area, and we will have a certain sort of a small alleyway in here. So we got to consider how that's going to look like. I'm going to just simply search for stairs, and I will just add it over here, probably something like this. And yeah, we can just put a nice door over here as well, to kind of help us break it up a little bit. I will put like a more fancy looking door. Actually, I will to remove this and grab a more rounded door instead. Let's go ahead and search for that. And these certain rounded off doors over here, but I'm not too, I don't think I quite like them actually. I'll go ahead and make use out of the square door that we just had. So that was going to be this one over here, like so. Might look quite alright actually. Let's go ahead and lower this down a little bit, like so. Lower down this entire section. I might use a smaller type of staircase. I think for this it's quite alright. I'll just go ahead and duplicate it actually. So make the grid lock a little bit smaller so I could just nicely attach them one to each other. Just like that. And there we go. Got ourselves a very nice type of a setup. And the door itself can be right in the middle, just like that. I think it's going to be quite alright. Okay, so this area over here obviously needs to be worked on a little bit in regards to this. This section as well needs to be slightly readjusted, so perhaps something like this. It looks like a small alleyway or something of the sort. I'm going to check what this looks like and we can just go ahead and fix that up. I can see that there is a hole over here, so I'll just go ahead and quickly remove or move it around like so to hide it away. And that actually fixes this issue. There is an issue with the hole over here though, so I'll just use a simple wall to hide that off. Simple and easy solution like that. And yeah, at this point it's just mainly problem solving for certain areas. So like this one over here, for example, I'm not sure if we should remove it or keep it, and the reason being is obviously the window over here. So what we can do is we can actually grab this a little bit and either lower this down. I think it's going to be quite alright. Yeah, I think I'll keep this lowered down and keep the rest as is. Just making sure that these setups are basically going to participate towards the overall aesthetic. So for example, over here, notice there is an issue with this setting. I'll just go ahead and just bring it outwards a little bit like so. Maybe even put it off to the side, just like that. Actually, I'll click Control Z real quick. And instead of doing that, what I will do is just I'll probably cover this entire section with a wall. I don't really want a window. The reason being is that this is going to be more of an outside type of an area. I just wanted to make it look a little bit more covered up from the outside and whatnot. So I'll just go ahead and hide it like so, and that's actually going to be quite all right. Okay, so this area is okay, this area is okay. This section is not okay, that's for sure, because we have some floating buildings. So what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to grab one of the buildings that we had. I'm going to just rotate around and grab an area where it has empty windows. Or alternatively, if the windows are a bit too low, or actually they might be just the right size, just the right height that is. I'm quite liking this, so I think I'll go ahead and keep it. I was worried that the windows might be just a little bit too low, but I think that's going to be okay. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing over here on this section, and maybe even rotate this around like so. And yeah, there you go. That's going to look quite nice overall, except for this part. This one does not look quite as nice. Let me just go ahead and actually hide it with a wall like so. So maybe we should have used the simple plain type of a cube, but for this sake, for this purpose, just hiding it like so is quite okay, and it gives a nice edge over here. And we're keeping it short, we're keeping it fast-paced, fast-flowing. The only thing that we're missing right now is going to be, if we click one, going to be the main building. Well, not the main building, but the building that helps to break off the overall silhouette of the city. Right now you can see it looks quite a bit flat in comparison. We have certain edges that are sticking out, and it's just not there with the flow in regards to the overall city. So it starts off like that, goes up, down, and then goes straight, and then goes back up again. So it's just not there with the overall flow. What we want is, we want it to be like more of a triangulized type of a look, where it goes towards the center piece, which is again the tower. So yeah, we'll try on fixing that starting the next lesson actually. And We're going to then also work on the entrance as well after this gate gets opened and whatnot. So yeah, we're going to continue on with this basically in the next lesson. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in a bit.